Every year, NFL teams go on a search for their next franchise quarterback at the NFL draft. Scouts spend all season watching college quarterbacks, but at the end of the day, it can still just be a huge guessing game. Some drafts are loaded at quarterback, while others just suck. But if a team can't make the right decision, it can set them up for their entire future. There are plenty of future Hall of Famers taken in the past 2 decades. But first, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Also, smack that like button so YouTube actually pushes this video out. The 2000 NFL Draft featured not just the best quarterback of all time, but the greatest player of all time in Tom Brady. There isn't much that needs to be said about Brady. I mean, he made the New England Patriots the greatest dynasty ever, winning 6 Super Bowls before he left for Tampa Bay, where he's already captured another ring in his first season. The San Diego Chargers thought they had their quarterback of the future at the 2001 NFL Draft, but Drew Brees went on to have a historic career as a member of the Saints. He brought New Orleans its first Super Bowl and was an elite quarterback year in and out. 2002 was a pretty weak draft, but the one constant starter that came out of it was David Garrard. Garrard had a solid career and spent a long time as the Jaguars quarterback, but it's possible that today he's known more for the craziest Hail Mary ever, when a pass that was batted down at the goal line by a defender was picked up by Mike Thomas, who caught it and brought it into the end zone for a win. Carson Palmer was one of the best quarterbacks ever before he was the best quarterback from the 2003 class. Palmer had his times, but for the most part was just plagued with bad coaching and rosters, primarily with the Bengals and the Cardinals. The 2004 NFL Draft is probably the greatest quarterback draft of all time, but the slight edge of best goes to Ben Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger is the one guy from the class that has experienced an immense amount of success both in the regular season and the playoffs with the Steelers, including 2 Super Bowl victories. Everyone is still kicking themselves for letting Aaron Rodgers slide so far in 2005. Mr. Discount Double Check brought Green Bay a Super Bowl and consistently has been one of, if not the best quarterback in the NFL over the past almost 2 decades. I know it's probably hard to believe that a good NFL quarterback came from Vanderbilt, but it is true. Jay Cutler went 11-35 at the dumpster fire of the SEC before he was selected in 2006, but in the pros, he had a pretty good career, especially during his tenure with the Bears. There really weren't any truly successful quarterbacks drafted in 2007. The best of the pack was Kevin Kolb. If you young guys don't even recognize that name, don't feel too bad. I kind of forgot this guy even existed. He never started double-digit games in a season, and he had a pretty short career. Mr. 28-3 himself hasn't been able to bring a ring to Atlanta, but he has been pretty fun to watch along the way. Matt Ryan has an MVP to his name, and the reality is, he's been one of the top passers in the league more often than not in the past 10 years. From buried in the abyss that is the Lions to finding a fresh start with the Rams, Matthew Stafford has a chance to actually find playoff success. But even then, he's already proven that he is the best quarterback from his class. Stafford has put up great numbers in his career and owns a ton of records. But honestly, no one really cared because it was in Detroit. Sam Bradford never developed into what the St. Louis Rams hoped he would have been, but he's still definitely the best from the class. Bradford was a subpar starter who had flashes of greatness at times, but eventually he ended his career by, get this, being released in favor of Josh Rosen. Whew, man, that's a tough way to go out. From one Heisman winner to another, Cam Newton quickly became one of the most exciting players to watch in the league. He couldn't win that ring in Carolina, but his impact on the field and the community was just elite in every way. Who knows if this is really the end after the Patriots let him go, but either way, Newton had one hell of a career. The 2012 quarterback class was so hyped up, yet Russell Wilson managed to slip through the cracks to the Seahawks, and damn, he's been a problem ever since. Wilson brought a ring to Seattle and has been an elite player in every way during his career. 2013 was another pretty bad class. The best goes to Mike Glennon, who has only started in 9 games since his first 2 seasons in the league. He's played for 6 different teams, and he's currently a backup for the Giants. There are a few quarterbacks that have had some pretty solid careers from 2014, but Derek Carr has definitely separated himself from the pack. He made the Pro Bowl in 3 consecutive seasons, and he's been very reliable for the Raiders over the years. Safe to say that Jameis Winston's final year in Tampa Bay didn't exactly go to plan with the whole, 30 interceptions thing, but he has been the best from 2015. Winston showed a ton of talent with the Buccaneers, but because of just really, really bad decisions and turnovers, they had to cut him loose. Now, Winston's the guy in New Orleans, and he's off to a pretty hot start. Ahead of the 2016 draft, the question was who would be the first overall pick, but no one thought the answer was going to be Dak Prescott 5 years ago, but here we are. The pride of Dallas has groomed into a reliable passer and an elite playmaker. He hasn't had the playoff success he would have hoped, but he still has a very long way to go in his young career. Patrick Mahomes was drafted in 2017. I mean, it's safe to say that nobody in the past decade has gotten off to a better start than an MVP in 2 Super Bowl appearances in just their first 3 years as a starting quarterback. Now, I'll admit, the 2018 class has a few guys that are really close, and it could go either way in the future. Josh Allen is coming off of a fantastic season where he led the Bills to the AFC Championship, but I do think that it is only fair to pick Lamar Jackson here. He does already have an MVP to his belt, he's been better longer, and is arguably the most explosive player in the league right now with his ability to use his legs and his arm interchangeably. It's only been 2 years, but Kyler Murray is the only guy in his class that hasn't really just completely crashed and burned. It feels wrong to pick a best quarterback from the 2020 draft after just 1 season, especially with how fast things change in the NFL, but we're going to do it anyways. The clear answer now is Justin Herbert, who won Offensive Rookie of the Year and made the Chargers look at least serviceable last year. We made this same video a little over a year ago, and it was definitely time for an update. Safe to say that we missed the mark on the whole trajectory of Carson Wentz's career more than anything, but the NFL is unpredictable. Looking back a year from now, this list could look entirely different. Quarterbacks are the most important player on any roster, and if you don't have a good one, or at least a cheap one, it's going to be really, really hard to win football games. The NFL draft tends to be the most common way to find your franchise quarterback, and at least for these teams, they made the right decision. Hey, thanks for watching. Click over here to the right to subscribe to the channel. If you don't want to, or you already do because you're awesome, click here on the left to watch another video. Also, check us out on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all that social media for NFL content all season long.